You're listening to the world-famous White Roof Radio, Woofcast number 617, recorded on March 7th, 2017. Tonight brought to you by CravenSpeed.com, MotoringStripes.com, and now Motoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and style. It's on Motoring.com. Here we go. Hey, everybody. It's DB in Arizona bringing you a brand new episode of the world-famous White Roof Radio. We are here talking about Mini Cooper stuff for you, like we like to do. Almost a full crew tonight, everybody except for Gabe, and he's stuck up on I think he got caught in an avalanche driving the new Countryman. I'm not sure. But, of course, our good friend Todd's here, motoringstripes.com. Todd, say hi.
I am here, and I have driven the Countryman, so I can talk about it.
See, there you go. Joining us this week as well, the good Reverend head mechanic, Mr. Chad Miller from Detroit Tune, DetroitTune.com.
I have not driven the Countryman, so I can only reference photographs.
Nice.
Well, that's good.
Alex is here.
Yeah, and I have not driven the Countryman either because Mini USA wouldn't invite us. I said it. That's it.
In all due respect,
so there's that.
In all due
it's out
respect,
of my system right now, so we're good to go.
I know. In all due respect, their marketing department is in a bit of disarray now with
Yep.
And then, of course, Brian Dallas has joined us as well from Ride Bikes Radio. Brian, say hi.
Hello.
And Brian,
Brian, you are supposed to say that you have driven the Countryman.
I've driven the Countryman and the plug-in hybrid Countryman.
That's super exciting.
Doesn't he own one
I'm
by now?
DB, and I have not driven the Countryman either because Mini USA didn't invite us to drive it with Gabe.
but here's what because of that, because we didn't get invited and persuaded to talk nicely about the Countryman. Not that I'm not going to talk nicely about the Countryman. You can respect what we have to say here because my time, it's been on my own time at my own expense to go drive this car and review this car. I'm using air quotes.
We weren't
here.
wined and dined.
That's right. So hey, this is where you get the real enthusiast perspective, as you have for the last 12 years? How long have we been doing this show?
12 years, brother, since 2005.
Damn, I feel old.
I know. Actually, almost 2005. No, that's 15 years. No, 12 years. That's right.
12 years?
Yeah, 12 years. Been a long time. We've been doing this show. A lot of you guys have been listening to us for just as long. And for that, we thank you.
I've been driving only Minis for 15 years. I realize that.
I've been driving only Minis for 15 years.
Yeah, DB's the same way. I've been driving only Minis for 15 years. There was a BMW in between, but I always had a Mini. I've owned Minis.
That BMW wagon for a while that you had to replace the whole front end on or something.
Yeah, steering rack. But
steering rack.
Hey, thank God for CarMax warranties, man.
There you go. Exactly. It's going to be a good show. We got a lot of good things to talk about. Obviously, Brian got to go out to Thermal because he got to do the dealer event. So he's going to talk about that, where he got to drive the plug-in hybrid Countryman. So super awesome. Todd's got to drive the Countryman. Super awesome. Todd currently has a four-door Mini Cooper.
Automatic four-door Mini Cooper.
And it's an automatic. That's awesome. So we're going to talk about that.
My balls are in the drawer in the other room, by the way. So.
God.
I might talk about the R56 a little bit and how much I really just don't think it's a very premium car in compared to, let's say, the new Kia Forte, but maybe not. And then who knows what else will come up after that. It's going to be a good time.
I love, and Alex is rolling his eyes when DB says Forte.
Yeah.
Alex, let's hear the French way to pronounce that word.
I think it's For-Tay.
It's
Wait, Alex is like, I think
I'm pretty sure it's just Forte.
Oh my gosh, that's the funniest thing, Alex.
Because I live in San Francisco, so I got to pronounce it.
The only thing, the car, at least it was maroon, and it also proves my my theory that every car, and I'm not kidding, every car looks better in maroon.
It does. You know what even looked good in maroon?
The Pontiac Aztec. You know what color it looked brilliant in? Maroon. I'm not kidding.
Dude,
look it up.
What have you been smoking?
Interesting.
The Pontiac Aztec looked good in no color at all.
Or no, the Pontiac Aztec or the Buick Rendezvous. That one, same thing.
No, you know what? You know what?
Your little icebox car, the little Scion XB, in maroon,
good.
Dude, it's brilliant.
How about the FJ Cruiser with the white top? Now that was pretty badass.
Yeah, or what's that big Ford wagon thing?
The Flex.
The Ford Flex.
Flex,
Maroon with white top.
Yep, it looks pretty good.
It's perfect. It's It's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when BMW would put maroon on a 5 Series, dude, it was so nice. Just saying, every car looks better in maroon. And that's another good show topic right there.
Maroon.
Yes.
They keep rolling off the tongue.
Every car looks
Or
good.
burgundy. I mean, it sounds
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it burgundy or maroon? One
Well,
of
the
them.
new mini color is burgundy.
Yeah.
Brian, what's the official color called? No, the burgundy that's on the Clubman.
True Burgundy.
True burgundy.
Yeah. Not the same.
the true Ron Burgundy.
I call it Ron Burgundy. Just like
Burgundy,
the Cooper 4-door that I've got now is called Blazing Red, but everyone at my dealer calls it Blazing Saddles Red. It's
Keeping
like
it classy. Nice.
that's what it says on the thing too. It's Blazing Saddles. That's just we referred to it as Blazing Saddles.
I'm sorry, it's pure Burgundy.
Pure Burgundy. Okay, pure Burgundy.
Yeah.
Pure
Okay,
Ron Burgundy.
What kind of hipster malarkey is that? Come on now, pure green. What's wrong with Velvet Red? I like Velvet Red. That's a good name for a color. It's a solid name.
That's a sexy name for a color right there, man.
It is, and you know, when there was
Sexy
I haven't seen the new. We're getting sidetracked. Let's pay bills, then we'll get into the show. Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Getting a little bit out of save it for the show.
This is freeform tonight. It's like 4 guys. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I've been a little bit of a spaz all week. This is going to be awesome. I had a really good bike ride. Anyway, so let's get started first. Let's tell you guys about one of the fine sponsors here underneath the white roof. That, of course, our friends over at Outmotoring. Outmotoring.com. For those of you who already get the email newsletter, just go ahead and, keep listening anyway, because maybe you'll learn something new. You want to know what's new over at Outmotoring? Lower UPS shipping rates. Sweet. Still having the free ground shipping on most orders over $195. You can still save 5% on your order by using the coupon code that you get with every email that comes from outmotoring.com, right? Adding hundreds of new parts every month. Almost any part that you need to actually repair your Mini, just like Aaron's like your new help desk over there at outmotoring.com, your new parts desk. If you need it for your car, he's got it. If he doesn't have it, he gets it. And it's like a price as good as or better than you get from your dealer. And when you support Aaron, you're supporting us. I'm just saying. A couple things you guys want to also check out, because I know you guys are cool like this. It's springtime. You want to do something new to your Mini before the Dragon, before Anviv, whatever. Coilover suspension kits. You can get them over at outmotoring.com. You want to get a really fancy leather key fob. Doesn't matter which car. I think he's got them for all cars. Super awesome. You are missing exterior trim bits. Aaron's got all of them for all the cars, and even replacement shift knobs. Your shift knobs probably looking a little scuzzy at the top. Maybe you can't see the numbers very well. You need too much French fry grease ground into it with salt and God knows who knows what else.
Don't eat in your Mini.
And don't hold your gear shift knob under a black light. Just
the loaner car that I have. Speaking of eating in your Mini, like over on the window switch, I reached over to roll the window down today because it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
There was a piece of popcorn there. Come on,
random.
It was
popcorn,
and it was out of gas. I'm gonna bust their balls when I take it back.
Wow.
Like I get home and the gas light comes on.
Good thing it was you. Replacement shift knobs, pillows. Not only that, but Outmotoring also carries the full line of car care products. It's coming up on cars and coffee season, car show season. You want your Mini to look as good as possible. Get all the crap and all the winter off of it. Even though you guys on the East Coast are kind of seeing like all the seasons this week, which is really strange. It doesn't matter. You still want to get your car clean, shined, and protected. Outmotoring.com's got you covered. Full line of car care products. Not only that, but all the latest, greatest personal motoring gear for your person. The hats, the shoes, the shirts, jackets, watches, you name it. Outmotoring.com's got you covered. Click over there, outmotoring.com. Check it all out. Don't forget, make sure you sign up for the email newsletter. Get yourself that 5% discount code every month, so you save 5% on every order. And if you order more than $195, most of the time, your shipping's going to be free. UPS ground. Very cool stuff. Of course, is our friends over at Outmotoring. Outmotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and H&R coilover suspension for the R50. There you go. That's Outmotoring.com. Maestro, if you please.
Boom! That's me. I have the con tonight, people, so look out.
Jesus.
Yes.
Jingle the ice, Todd. Jingle the ice.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, tinkle the ice. Everybody knows that Todd's driving this ship tonight.
It's not slurring your words. It's called speaking in cursive. And it's
Speaking
being elegant.
there you go. Anyway,
that go for you.
All right, you know what? Let's start first. We've got a ton of Countrymen to talk about, but before we do Countrymen, because that's going to take all night, let's start first with the short stuff. So Todd is currently driving a Mini Cooper, a 4-door,
Automatic.
Which is sad.
It's you know what? I thought it was going to be sad. Like my car's in for I'm having a couple of things checked out. I've got an idle issue and a Bluetooth issue. So anyway, I get a loaner car today from my lovely dealer, Baron Mini in Kansas City. And it's a 4-door Cooper, automatic. And I took one look at it, and I'm like, I just kind of shook my head and went, okay, let's see. This is the antithesis of my JCW. Okay?
It's a complete opposite.
This is as far away as you can get from...
It's funny because it's the same color.
Well, no, this one's Blazing Saddles red. But anyway, so I'm thinking I'm going to hate this car, and I get in it, and the first thing I do, I slam it over into sport mode and give it a go. And I'm like, you know what? This isn't half bad. I mean, I was here's the really weird part about this car. It felt like I was in a smart car compared to my car. It felt smaller. I can't figure out why, but it felt like
with crappy brakes.
No, I mean, the brakes were fine. Yeah, I couldn't get fast enough to really test it that well.
Right.
But they
told him to do some e-brake slides just so feel better about himself.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
He left his nuts at home.
I did get the wheels to squeal a little bit around a corner, and the car feels like it sure is top heavy. It like wobbles around the corner, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not used to that feeling of the whole car like it's getting up on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
And but you know what? I didn't hate this car like I thought I was going to. It's actually a fine automobile, handles really nicely, and I think if you're on a budget, it's a decent car, and you need.
And if you're on the inside, you can't actually see how ugly it truly is.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the looks of the 4-door, and I know Brian, you got one of these in your household.
No, I don't like them either. Sorry, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm
what's the sticker price on that rental?
Man,
Loaner?
I don't know. I'll have to look and see, but I'm guessing it's in the mid-20s. It's pretty inexpensive. I mean, the most expensive thing about this car is the automatic transmission because it has 0 options. It literally has.
Oh, it's completely stripped down.
Well, it has heated seats, but it's even got the old robot. It's got the old robot face, DB, as you like to call it, the robot.
Oh, it
face.
does. So it doesn't even have the good stereo or the good screen or anything. Just got the robot face from.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a super old loaner then.
It's the build date was 12. Yeah, the build date was 12/15. So I think it's a 16 model.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's even got the robot face, and I was like, it felt antique to me, driving the thing. But hey, it was like I said, if you're on a budget and you really want a Mini and you need 4 doors and you don't want to bump up to the Countryman, which I think is a better option for you, or even a Cooper Clubman, I think would be a more premium option. And that's just because this car feels like the interior is crap by comparison.
Well, and it's also you've got a completely stripped down model too.
Yeah,
it does no options on the inside, which makes a huge difference.
I mean, leatherette. The seats are awful by comparison to the JCW seats.
Sure.
They're pretty bad. My knee, for some reason, was hitting the cup holder, and I'm like, I don't recognize this in my car, and I think it's just simply by the way the seats hit, my legs, because I've got the thigh bolster on the JCW seats. But anyway, I think it was a pretty decent car. Like I said, I'm not going to slam it because driving-wise, it had plenty of power. I was really amazed. I drove it on the highway. I had to go to a meeting this afternoon that was, about 20 miles away. So I got some good highway time in this car also, and it did not suck.
No, it's got 145 horsepower.
100.
It was funny when Todd said, I'm not going to slam it. I was like, why would you lower a loaner car?
With 15-inch wheels. Or
Carry on.
It's got 16-inch wheels, but anyway, yeah, it's really, it wasn't that bad. I wouldn't go so far as to say.
Surprised you didn't have the guys to say. I'm surprised you didn't take the Dyna tune out of your car really quick and put it in this way you had it.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
That's what you should have done, dude.
Yeah, I can't wait. I would love to drive a Cooper with the Dyna tune on it and see how different.
Yeah, that would be rad.
But anyway, so that's my experience.
It doesn't look bad. You took an okay picture of it, and it's from the right angle, so it looks okay. And the same, you've also shared with us the way if you wanted a 4-door, the way you should do it, and that's with the JCW body kit, and it looks a lot better. But it's a 4-door, and it's awkward. It's weird. It's like the Fiat XL. It's got there's something about it that just doesn't look right, and it's got that little crazy mirror in the back, and
and there's no room in the back seat like for legs. Like I got in
Right.
to look at the back seat and I realized with my seat where it is in the driver's position, it's like there would be no room for anyone with more than popsicle stick legs to get in the back.
Right.
So the back seat is kind of unusable except for small children. But the car was a decent car. I did figure out the issue of hitting my head getting in. It's just a seat adjustment. I had to crank the seat all the way down, and it's like, this is
a problem.
Yeah, this is much better because I used to hit my head getting in because it really does have the lowest clearance of any Mini because of the doors. These doors have the metal, frame around the outside of them, as we've talked many times before. But you know what? This car's a pretty decent car. I can see why it's selling. But I'm curious this year, and this is going to segue into what we're talking about now. Now that we've got two other four-doors, a Countryman and a Clubman, which the Clubman's been selling very well for the year that it's been on sale. Now the Countryman's been on sale since last Saturday, and I know we sold a couple of them here locally the very first day they went on sale. Brian, I know out there in Seattle, you guys sold at least one or two, right?
Yeah, a couple, and we have we have 13 on order for customers right now that are coming.
Wow.
That is so awesome, which then I think leads us into our next thing we're going to talk about is the new Countryman and how, Brian, you got to drive it. And from your perspective, I'm going to present this for our listeners who don't know this. You were a once Countryman owner. You had the R60 for a few years. In fact, you had two of them in your household for a while. So you've got experience with the previous generation Countryman. You got to go out to Palm Springs at the Thermal Club racetrack there, which is owned by BMW, and drive the heck out of all these new Countrymans. I'm just going to turn it over to you now and hear what your thoughts were on this new car.
Yeah, so we, yes, Todd, I did own a couple Countrymans, and my biggest complaint with the Countryman at that time, the second generation Countryman, was the tech, and that's just the one thing that I think I focused on the most. But as far as for my lifestyle, my family at the time, it was an excellent car, and I miss it. Fast forward into where we are now with the F60, and yes, a group of us went down to Palm Springs with Mini. They put us up in an amazing hotel that was very premium, smart premium, and
it was the Ace, wasn't it?
It was the Ace Hotel, yeah, exactly, in downtown Palm Springs.
We know that hotel.
Yeah. Oh, you know that hotel?
We know that hotel from Mini Takes the States.
I mean, what a great hotel, right? And it seemed to fit right into how the Countryman is being portrayed as the adventurer.
Right.
And that's how that hotel is basically portrayed as well. So first day, we literally got into a group of about, I think there were around 35, maybe 40 Countrymans, and they were split between S's and Coopers. All of them were all fours. And then we proceeded to do the drive up and into the mountains behind Palm Springs. And we settled in a park, or actually a ladies' ranch, up in the upper parts above Palm Springs, and we got to literally test drive cars in different scenarios. And one of the scenarios was we put a Cooper all-four up against a Subaru Crosstrack, and we tested the two all-four systems. And it was a very closed course through a mud bog, through a bunch of different things, but and it gave you the opportunity to drive a bit of competition. And then they moved us over to where we drove a GLA, and also we got to drive the hybrid for the first time.
Nice.
What was really great about that, I mean, it wasn't a direct comparison, but what was great about it is you actually got to see how screwed up Mercedes was when they built that car. I mean, they literally built a piece of crap, and how much inside of it feels like a Chrysler. You shift the damn thing on the wiper stock. Like, I got in the car and I was like, how the hell do I put the freaking thing into drive? Like, I didn't know where to
put it
into drive,
That's bad.
And then once you figure that out, you drive it, and then it has horrible blind spots all over the place. And this particular course is you kind of take it through a loop and then through some tight turns, and you're basically just trying to see where you're going without hitting some cones and so forth. So you kind of get an idea of what the blind spot differences are between the Countryman and the particular Mercedes. drove the PHEV, and it was all the electric motor was engaged at that point. We never got a chance to kick it over into the Cooper motor.
Brian, really quick, you said
Yeah.
PHEV, and you guys used this before, like in our Slack channel. What does PHEV mean?
So let me sort of explain it. There's 4 designations for cars basically nowadays. We have our combustion motor cars, conventional gas cars. We also have standard hybrids like Priuses that are a gas motor, so forth.
Right.
And then we have electric vehicles like the i3 and that kind of stuff. And then now we have plug-in hybrids. So
Like the Volt.
PHEV, yeah, like the Volt. So PHEV stands for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. That's what the acronym is.
Got it.
The one nice thing about PHEVs, since we're kind of talking about it now, is they're regenerative, meaning that, yes, you can plug them in to regenerate, and that's the way that the Cooper SE All-4 is going to be. Countryman Cooper SE All-4 is what we're all going to be calling it.
Mhm.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah,
It's a lot of words to put together.
Yeah.
This car has 2 separate motors in it, an electric motor in the back, combustion motor in the front. It has the Cooper motor up front. The driveline is not, there's no connected driveline between the 2 motors. So they are literally working independently of each other.
Okay.
Motoring File had posted a video that Mini had put out in Europe a while ago about the breakdown of how the motors work and such. And that was posted in November or something like that. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it's a really great illustration of how the technology in this particular car is working. And I got to tell you that when you stomp on the accelerator, because you don't want to call it a gas pedal anymore,
Right.
it's fast. I mean, it is literally fast. You are going full torque like instantly. And for that heavy of a car, to get that thing up and moving is, kind of a feat. And it does a really great job. Really great job.
And I'm sure eventually Mini's going to come out with the same thing they did with BMW. The i3, for example, is still the fastest production BMW ever from 0 to 30 miles per hour. And I know that sounds funny, but it is. It's faster than any other BMW from 0 to 30 miles an hour because of that. It's one gear, instant torque. It's all there. Boom, you go. So,
Yeah.
And all electric cars are like that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that, what's really amazing about this, and I hope that soon we're going to actually see real pricing on it. And I know we've all speculated on what we think this car is going to end up costing, and I would imagine it's going to be right in there what the JCW numbers are for the Countryman, similar in that. But the one nice thing is that this thing's going to have everything in it already. I mean, it's going to have all the tech package in it. It needs it in order to operate
Right.
at that capacity. So it's not like you're going to have a total ton of options. Internally, you're going to have not a ton of options, but externally, you're probably going to be able to change wheels and do that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I think that we're going to be looking in the high 30s as a base price and up. But it's an amazing automobile. I've never been this excited about a Mini in ever.
And you're talking specifically the hybrid, not just the Countryman, the hybrid.
Yeah, the hybrid itself and the hybrid technology, I'm very excited about. But the Countryman, I really enjoyed pushing that car pretty hard because when we came back down, and those of you who are familiar with that area of Palm Springs, is that those roads are not straight. They're super twisty coming back down those mountains.
Yep.
Yeah, and we were pushing these Countrymen pretty hard, and we drove a Cooper All-4 coming down. I didn't have any trouble keeping up with the S's. I mean, that car was moving.
Nice.
So, it's a heavy car, but it was still moving it, and I didn't get that typical R60 body roll and kind of what Todd was just talking about, the F55, like the body roll from pushing it. This car is solid. It is planted, and it's
And I'm going to follow that up when I talk about mine too. But tell us about what you thought then in general of the new Countryman. Like, what were your impressions after? I know you got to drive it, a little bit at your dealer before you went down to do this, but you really got to put it through its paces at this point.
We pushed it pretty hard. We did not get to take it to thermal though. That's the one thing we didn't get a chance to do.
Okay, all right.
Which I think is probably good. The day at thermal was us with JCWs on the track.
Oh well, we can save that for another date.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later because that was a whole other level of fun.
Okay.
But we did push driving the Countryman pretty hard, and I got to say that just getting in and out of the car, it's so much more comfortable. I mean, you're literally, and I heard a number today, it's about 9 centimeters higher than even getting in and out of the Clubman. So when you step out, you're literally stepping out. You're not trying to lift yourself up and then out. And it's a very comfortable automobile. I think Mini has done an amazing job just getting it ready to go up against some of the cars that we're now going up against, the Audis and the Mercedes and even to a certain extent, even some of the Land Rovers that like Todd and I were talking about today. So I think that the adoption rate will be slow at first, but I don't think it's going to take very long for this to be a very good selling car for Mini. Is it going to save us this year? Probably not. It's going to take us a couple of years to get us back into where it is. So,
I got a question for you, Brian.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can share that, but you talk about a Subaru and a Mercedes like during the training. Like, are those the brands that it's being pitted against, or is it like did you guys receive some guidance in regards to what people are going to be cross shopping the car against?
Well, I think not only that, but like that we had a Q3 there. We didn't actually drive that. We were just using that as an example of spatially how is Audi set up on that in comparison to say how the Countryman cargo wise, because we're looking at the same sort of demographic that would be looking at potentially at that car compared to the Countryman. And then also the Jeep Renegade, which is not in the price point of the Countryman, but it's still in that utility crossover style car that some people might cross shop with it. I think that the idea of the word premium is being used more solely as a word by itself instead of it being smart premium, because smart is being implied anyway. And I think it's more along the lines of, we've got premium products, we're using premium, aesthetics inside of the car, and we're, it's attention to detail and that kind of stuff. So,
and this is where I think Mini is missing the mark, like as far as they can, and I think Alex agrees with me on this. I do not think that those are the kind of cars that potential owners are going to be cross-shopping this with. My attitude is potential owners are going to be cross-shopping this against the most popular selling crossovers in that are more like the Honda CR-V, the Nissan, the
not the Juke.
No, not the Nissan Juke, but the Nissan Rogue. The Nissan Rogue.
I actually know somebody who owns a Juke.
And the Mazda CX line.
X5.
Yeah, the CX line I could see would be one of the more, even the X1 to a certain extent too.
That to a certain extent, but the CX, and then now that Mazda has a CX-3, and I think they did away with the 7. There's a 3, a 5, and a 9 now. And so they've got a full line of CX models there. I think that's more the lines that people are going to shop. And maybe even the Juke. I think that's a horrible car. But the Nissan Rogue also.
Oh, the Rogue, yeah.
Yes,
well, I'll tell you, we actually have a Nissan Rogue in our stable here.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a 16 and now we have a 17, and they really stepped their game up between those 2 years.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah, like huge. And the fit, the feel, the finish of the car is much better. The overall, just the way the steering wheel fits, the front end design, everything about that, they really stepped their game up on that car. So,
well, and that's why I think the whole idea of premium, because seriously, what car company is selling a car today in the United States that doesn't use the word premium and call their car premium and want you to think it's premium?
Yeah.
It's just this year's or the last couple of years marketing buzzword right now. Todd.
It is, and that's why it's lost all meaning, and they really have to set it against. But my whole point was, I think they're choosing the wrong cars to pit this against. Now, I know they've done their market research and everything, but the people I talk to, the real world people who aren't answering the freaking surveys on whatever cold calls, are the ones out there buying a CX-3. And the former Mini owners that I know, people who've left the brand in the last 1 to 2 years because of technology and mainly because of technology, have gone to a CX-3, a CX-5, either Mazda or even Volvo. Now, Volvos are quite a bit more expensive you really get up to a kind of a next level when you start equipping a Volvo. But it's a nice, decent car. So, or a Honda CR-V, one of the best-selling crossovers in the United States right now. Yep. And now they've got the new HR-V, which is a really good-looking small little SUV.
You know what? I saw one of those for the first time the other day on the road.
It's a good-looking car.
It took me a minute. I was like, going, what? Is this a big Civic? Is it a little CR-V? And I'm looking at it some more. I'm just going, and it doesn't look bad.
Yeah, it's an HR-V, and it's like they took a...
It was a good-looking car. Like it's like they made it a CR-V with a Civic, and they came up with that. And just like, well, it's kind of brilliant.
That's a good way to describe it, DB. And it's kind of like a hip, like a cooler version of a CR-V.
And it was a child that was driving it.
Yeah, I don't know who Honda's target market is there. And Honda's a great car company. I've owned a lot of them in my history of owning cars.
Wait, don't get started on the Hondas.
I'm not going to get started on the Hondas, but it's a great car. And my in-laws have a CR-V. It's a 2016, and I drive it quite frequently. And it's not a bad car, but man, it's a soulless, just a soul-sucking experience to drive that thing. I freaking hate it. I mean, it's a fine car, but I can't explain it other than it's a soul-sucking experience. After getting out of a Mini.
I'm the exact same way about the Rogue. It's a totally fine car. It does everything you want. It's very plush. It does everything, but it's boring.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got satellite radio. It's got all the tech. It's got everything. But like I'm driving it, I'm like, man, why do I feel like I'm kind of driving a school bus? It's really big, and it's comfortable because I'm driving a couch. But like, it just kind of is boring. It really has no life to it.
It's almost like cheating on your girlfriend, like driving, you're used to driving a Mini and you love it and it's you love it and you get in another car like that and you're like, this is a fine car, but I feel dirty, like just driving this car.
Oh my God.
It feels wrong.
I'm not sure if I'd go that far yet, but
it feels wrong.
It definitely has a little different feel.
Saying is interesting because I think also bouncing off of a comment that Gabe made a few weeks ago, or one of you made, I forgot. Like the car the Countryman feels like it's a very kind of exciting to drive for what it is in the category. And it seems to me that that's what Mini probably should be competing on. When you see some of the marketing campaign, very early marketing campaign stuff, like you have the car like in situations. I don't remember seeing this for the Rogue or for the Hondas or anything like that. So I think this is what they're going to be playing on because at the end of the day, like the tech is pretty much the same on every single car now.
Right.
It's not
it is now.
New one. And the way it looks, because I think it looks cool, and also the way it's being put in situation is where Mini is probably going to focus their marketing campaign.
Hang on 1 second. Because I don't want to lose the point on that.
Gotcha.
Think about the marketing campaign. This was kind of stressed to us a little bit. Is that watch the ads and watch them closely, especially the latest Countryman commercial that's been rotating through, and notice that the car and the people are. Actually, the people are more focused in the ad than, say, the car is or even the surrounding. And the whole idea is that the brand is still trying to show itself as part of the people, I mean, it's about building stories and about building experiences.
It is. I can tell I'm never going to be a Countryman.
I haven't seen any new ads for...
But you obviously haven't been watching YouTube at all.
Yeah, no, there is one there, and I can tell I'm not going to be a Countryman owner because I don't own a puffy vest. So that's all I can say.
Or you have to have a lot more facial hair.
That's it. I don't have a neck beard, and I don't own a puffy vest and skinny jeans. So I just don't fit the target.
Use skinny jeans if you want to.
But
I have to admit that I now wear skinny jeans, but I don't have a puppy vest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's good.
But I think
birthday,
what's missing on this, and let me talk about my experience real quick of driving this. I thought the Countryman was fun to drive. I seriously was so surprised that if I'd closed my eyes, it felt the most like a hardtop experience, like anything from an R53 to the F56, the new one, so 2003 to 2016. It felt the most like a hardtop experience, like handling-wise, and, just it felt tight and sporty. And I'm like, why is that not the marketing campaign of this car? Is because Mazda is right now capitalizing on that, on their campaign for their cars is this is the way it makes you feel when you drive. You want to touch premium. So if you look at some Mazda ads right now, they're like, can you feel premium? If you close your eyes, you can feel it. Well, this is exactly what Mini's trying to get across, and they've totally screwed the pooch on this because Mazda has beat them to the punch. Because Mazda has this campaign of like, this is premium, and it's hand done by real people, not machines. It's put together, and it feels great. And they show the guy driving it with a smile on his face, and they talk about how this is the way a car makes you feel. And I'm like, damn it, that's what Mini should have done 5 years ago. They should have started talking.
Well, you remember, Todd, is that, and I think they really lost an entire year last year. Like when the Clubman was launched and they did Defy labels / not normal, revisited not normal. They lost a year of marketing. They just literally the brand lost its foothold essentially. Yeah. And so when the Countryman came in, it was a completely different shift of, all right, well, we started this whole smart premium stuff. We're going to start, with this new CI, and we're going to make our dealers all change from black to white, and and we're going to clean ourselves up, and everybody's going to have to wear ties, that kind of thing. And now it's like, okay, let's pull out your puffy vests and your flannels, and and let's go camping with our picnic bench. And I see where you're going with that, Todd, and I think they're trying to do it, but they're doing it in a really weird way. Yeah. But at this point, it's somewhat effective, at least from what I've seen, is that the orders that we've gotten so far are sight unseen. These are people that have ordered in the car before they even actually got a chance to drive the damn thing.
No, I think it's absolutely a fine marketing campaign. It doesn't hit me because I don't have an outdoor lifestyle. Like I don't want to go to the mountains, and I don't take this to the lake to go fishing and use the picnic bench and all of the outdoorsy things that it appeals to people. Like I'm not going to put I don't own a kayak, for crap's sake. But a lot of people do, and it appeals to a lot of people, and I think that's great. My point is that it almost Mini is going to focus on this so much because they realize it's the future of the company and the brand in the U.S. Especially, that we're going to lose sight of how fun the rest of the brand is. The convertibles and the JCWs and the hardtops. And we've noticed sales just dropping through the floor on all of these. And I'm just going to say it again. I've been saying it before, that by the end of this year, hardtop sales for Mini are going to be at 10% or less of total sales for 2017.
Yeah.
Right.
That is my prediction. And we get to the end of it, and we'll see whether I'm right or wrong. But I'm like, I think they could sell a lot more hardtop cars if they talked about how fun they are to drive and how much of a soul-giving as opposed to the soul-sucking experience of driving a CR-V or another car or the Kia Forte the TB drove.
It wasn't horrible.
Which, like you said, it wasn't a soul-sucking experience, but a lot of cars are. But it's not like driving a Mini DB. You get in and drive my JCW, tuned the way it is, and sounds the way it does.
I get in, I drive my R56, and shit's falling out of the ceiling on my head, but it still sounds better and drives better than the Kia Forte.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so funny because here's my example, my real world example. A week ago or a couple weeks ago, when I had the JCW convertible, I had both cars parked in my driveway, and I was shining them up and everything. And it was a beautiful day out, and my whole neighborhood is out. I live in a cul-de-sac, and both neighbors across the street, they each have two little boys that go out and they play in the driveway and everything. And they're always out talking and everything. And we're pretty close across the street. And so I'm, playing with the cars, taking pictures of them, taking measurements and all of this stuff. And I could hear them talking from across the street. And they were both like so jealous that, they're family guys. One of them drives an X5 and the other guy has an Acura SUV. And, they've got the two little kids and the whole soccer mom thing going on. And we all work at home, which is funny because we're all home all the time. And they see me and all the kind of cars I come in and out and all the time. And I hear them talking under their breath. They're like, God damn, I wish I could drive a car like that. Seriously.
Oh.
And I get the real world experience of that to hear what people are saying. And I'm like, I think Mini just needs a little kick in the pants of fun. Of going, screw all this hipster malarkey once and for all. Yes, the car is premium. We know that. All cars are premium. This car is freaking fun to drive. Just go to the dealer and get in one, and you will not be able to leave without buying one. That's just the way it's true. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, really quick. On that note, we turned one of our Hay cars, which is the pre-launch cars, into a service loaner already. So people are able to take that and drive it.
Well, there you
Nice.
go. There you go.
The people who have ordered the car, without seeing it, Brian, are they returning customers or are they new?
Yeah.
New
Yeah, they are. A lot of them are previous Countryman owners.
And that's good. That's good that
Yeah.
people like those. You want those people to be buying the car like first, and that's I think
Yeah.
that's great. That's
A lot of them. It's very interesting, Alex, is that it's so cyclical. Is that you've got a lot of people that are end of their lease term, so they're at their 3-year, and they're looking at, okay, well, I'm about ready to turn in my car, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade into another. Move into the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the first time hearing of it. A few weeks ago, I was meeting with our friend Sean from the Motor Trend podcast, and he was asking me what I thought about a configuration that one of his friends did for a new Countryman, and they're coming out of the existing one. So
Yeah.
so people like buying it again. That's good. I think that's very good.
I think a lot of people are excited about. Obviously, we've talked about this too, but millennials are the ones that are looking at this car a little bit more. And they've always shied away from it because millennials like what? They like tech.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
this car is loaded with natural language and touchscreen and all this other crap that that's and we all said this a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about the picnic bench about being the third rail, of this generation of Countrymen. But it's actually kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, no, I think
it's not bad.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool, and I think I would see use for it, even if it's just getting your dogs in and out of the car, like an extra a boost for them.
Yeah.
But I can see a lot of times when you're sitting out in your driveway or you go somewhere, 4th of July, you want to go somewhere and watch fireworks. What are you going to do? Yeah, you're going to lean up against the car. Perfect. You don't have to take lawn chairs with you. So I do see it as one of the, it's not as gimmicky as, say, the rail in the original Countryman was.
No.
And all those accessories. But I liked so much about this car when I got to drive it, and mostly the feel of it. And you guys want to know what the ridiculous thing is that I was so impressed with in this car? The brakes. The brakes on the new Countryman I thought were so stinking impressive. I could not rave about how well balanced the car was at speed, and then to slam on the brakes and get that thing to stop. I thought for sure it was going to feel like it would take forever because it weighs 1,000 pounds more than my car, right? And I'm used to the way my car stops, and I was so impressed by that in this. It made me think, wow, this car finally, they really worked hard to make it feel like a Mini, and I have to say, from my personal perspective, they were successful. They really have made this car feel like a Mini, more so than the previous Countryman, because I thought it felt a little bit like a Mini, but it was its own unique animal.
That's very interesting because when you think of it, it's the most BMW Mini of the entire lineup because it's pretty much the next one.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is, and it's funny because it's not like the most exciting. I think BMW is still going to be main.
So it's actually better than the X1 because Gabe said the X1 kind of doesn't drive great, and I don't think it looks particularly nice.
No, it doesn't. Here's the statistics of that, and Chad can speak to this of being somebody who tunes cars also. This car has a longer wheelbase and a wider track, so the wheels are farther apart in 4 directions than they ever have been before, which effectively reduces the center of gravity of the car and makes it handle better. Okay? All of those things. It doesn't really have to be lowered because of those just minimal statistics of the addition of wheelbase length and then the width as far as the car. And I say track, that means how far apart the wheels are right to left. And those have both increased on this car, and I think it is just brilliant how they've made it handle and feel like it does. I can't wait for you guys to drive it and let me know what you think.
You guys are going to really like it. The other thing too, Todd, and we talked about this on Slack today, was they brought a lot of cars, recent models to market, and they didn't exactly do the after sales side of it too. Let's push this car out, but we're not going to make headlight rings for it, or we're not going to make mud flaps for it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like the Clubman didn't have black headlight rings, or the 4-door, the F55 doesn't have mud flaps in the back still,
right?
To this point. But you fast forward to where we are now with this car, headlight, taillight rings.
All of that's coming out at the same time.
All that's coming out at the same time. The only thing that didn't hit market, which is something that they've never done, is the black grille, which is going to be later on in the year. they've got extra wheels and accessories, and that kind of stuff is like that stuff was hitting even before the car did. So it's kind of like they paid attention a little bit to what people were saying.
Yeah,
so.
and I think really the only thing you're missing out on this car, and a lot of people aren't really going to miss it, is CarPlay, and that's going to come starting in June, so you got a few months to wait. So if that's important to you, you might wait until June to do it, but a lot of people are going to say, you know what, I've lived without it this long, I don't know what I'm missing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, well, that's awesome. Brian, I know you got to run.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the quick roundup on that. I'm sure we'll continue to talk about it, especially as everybody else gets a chance to drive it. But that's awesome. I'm glad you liked it, and I'm glad you were really excited about the plug-in hybrid.
Yeah, I really am, and I think that you guys, once you experience it, see it, and get a chance to drive it, you're going to be equally impressed. I mean, it's revolutionary for Mini, and not just Mini. It's revolutionary period for the auto industry.
Nice.
So, with that price point for that car, it's significant.
Let's hope it does, because we have some really shitty February numbers to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Brian, thanks again. Of course, you guys can also hear Brian with me over there at ridebikesradio.com. We talk about bicycles when we get a chance, so you can go check them out. Ridebikesradio.com. Brian,
thanks so much. Talk to you later. See you, Chad.
Cheers, man.
Good night. Have a good night.
All right.
Bye.
So Brian, that was awfully nice of him to share that with us. I know he's short on time tonight, but he also got the chance to drive stuff on the track and things, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I know I just touched on it a little bit, but I can't tell you how much I liked this new Countryman, the way it drove. I got highway time. I got some twisty time. I got to feel the brakes. The car felt comfortable. Here's what's really weird about this, and I'm sorry Brian's gone now. We'll have to follow up later, is it felt smaller than the Clubman. Something about this car.
Really?
Yeah, other than sitting up high, like you feel really high off the ground in the new Countryman.
But it felt like the overall driving dynamic felt like you were driving a smaller vehicle than the Clubman.
Yeah, it really felt like you're driving a hardtop. And I thought that was an impressive, a bit of trickery, because the car's bigger than the Clubman, both width-wise and length-wise. But getting inside of it, it feels smaller. They made it feel like a small car. And I do think that's something that appeals to people, to customers. They get in it, and they're like, I feel comfortable in this car. It doesn't feel cavernous like a freaking Ford Excursion. Like, I've never been in one of those. But it
also adds to the fun to drive factor, I think.
Yeah, it kind of does. So
so if you spend all day driving, if you spend a year driving a giant Cadillac, right? Your big old 72 Cadillac,
right?
Coupe, Seville, or whatever, big 30-foot long car, and then out of nowhere you say, "Hey, somebody tosses you keys to anything small." Yeah. Right? At this point, it doesn't matter. It could be a Mini, it could be a Datsun, it could be whatever, anything small. And you go drive that, and you go, oh my God, that's so much fun to drive, just because it's so much smaller.
Yeah.
So I think that the size, the feeling of a smaller size is going to add to the fun to drive concept.
Yeah.
I think. Hope. I don't know.
Well, I hope it does too. I'm going to get the chance, hopefully this week or next, to drive the Cooper All-4 to kind of give it a shakedown and see.
That'll be interesting to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that, because I would think it's going to be a sweet spot, although I have to say, from the early things I've been hearing from people around the country, people are ordering the Cooper S in droves, the new Countryman Cooper S.
Well, people want the horsepower.
Yeah. So.
Really quick before we go on any further, I want to do two things. I want to pay some bills. I want to remind you guys about our friends over at Craven Speed, cravenspeed.com. I'd like you to click over there. Over there, you're going to find all the things, the stubby antenna, the shifter, really cool shift knob, the short shift kit, the springs for the F56, the new phone mount, which I now am being a total spaz, the platypus mount, the FlexPod adapter, the new magnet piece for the FlexPod adapter. I want you to go look at all the things from cravenspeed.com. Got it? Got it. When you're there, I want you to make sure you sign up for the email newsletter that they send out. They send out hardly an email at all, and it's only to let you know when they put new stuff out. So you might want to even follow them on Twitter or Facebook. That way you find out all the cool new stuff. And they have stuff for other cars, not just for Mini Coopers. You want a stubby antenna for your Harley? Done. I think that's just funny. But they actually have stuff for other makes, and there's a whole list of other makes over there. So just because, you don't have a Mini doesn't mean you can't shop at cravenspeed.com. Go over there, see all the things that they've got. Of course, if you've got a Mini, especially if you have a first-gen Mini, an R53, you're going to want a supercharger pulley. Craven Speed's got you covered. You've got a second-gen or first-gen Mini, you're going to need a Craven Speed dipstick so you can read it so it doesn't break. Super awesome stuff. And, if you're that guy that has to have a tow hook on the front of your car, Craven Speed's got you covered on that as well. Not only that, but a really badass GoPro adapter that fits in the tow hook hole as well. All that, plus a whole bunch more available for you over at Craven Speed, cravenspeed.com. And don't forget, too, if you see Craven Speed stuff over at outmotoring.com, awesome. You see Craven Speed stuff at Chad Shop over at Detroit Tune, detroittune.com, awesome. Just make sure you're buying from Craven Speed. Super duper rad. But if you do happen to buy something from cravenspeed.com, there's a comment space there on the order form. Make sure you put in there. Thanks for supporting White Roof Radio. We really appreciate that. So do they. They, of course, are friends over at Craven Speed, cravenspeed.com. Second thing I want to mention, I want to do a couple shout outs to our friends in Philly this week. If you guys have noticed, the very fine looking JCW Clubman with a big Christmas bow. That's our man, Mr. Kolb from Philly. That's his new JCW Clubman that he just recently got to drive again, that you're seeing this week. Henry, thanks for submitting that picture. All he did is, I believe he uploaded that to the Facebook page. Boom. He's getting used as a show art. You'd ping us on Twitter, do an at reply to us on Twitter, White Roof Radio. Do an at reply to us on Instagram at White Roof Radio. You do upload it to the Facebook page, or if you're fancy and you can upload it to the Patreon page. And if you post a photo there, I'm going to use it for show art. It's not a competition. Just whichever one I find, and the one that I like that week is going to get used for show art. So get on it. Thank you, Henry, for sending that in. And I have one more shout out for our friends in Philly, besides the ones that are going to be at the graphics party. Our girl, Crazy Susan. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
So
Drum roll.
I'm communicating with our friend Crazy Susan today because it was her birthday, the day that we recorded the show.
Yeah.
And we all know who Crazy Susan is. She's got the 2000 whatever. She's got an R50 with the CVT transmission. And
she's the mascot of the show at this point. Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
She's the mascot of the show at this point.
She is totally,
Yes.
Crazy Susan's the
Yes.
mascot of the show. So she's got the R50 with the CVT. And as far as I know, this is quite possibly the highest mileage of any R50 with the CVT that's on the original transmission.
Right.
On Earth.
On Earth. You ready for the mile count on hers?
Yep. Drum roll.
176,389.
Oh my God. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Well, well done, Susan. Nicely done. I'm still impressed. You got the only good CVT R50 Cooper.
That is
Only
awesome.
good one. Good grief. That's well done. Todd, you have to have your picture made with Susan's car when you're in Philly.
I will definitely try and do that.
Oof. So before we took our little break there, Todd kind of started mentioning about numbers. February numbers, of course, very, very unkind to Mini USA.
Can I use the word abysmal?
Oh, down 24.1%.
However,
you know what?
However,
And this was I'm just going to throw this out and let's see if it works or not. But we were talking about this on Slack today. And how long have mini sales been on the decline?
well, here's the thing about February. We can't get our panties in too much of a bunch here about it because we know that there were no Countrymen available for the month of February. Most dealers closed them out in January. Okay,
Right.
So there was a few available. I'm sorry, I want to look at the numbers here and see how
Looks
many.
like they sold 400 fewer than they did the year before, Countryman alone.
Yeah. So Countryman, that was a big drop. It was like a 67% drop
67% drop, yeah.
over the previous year, only 188. Right. So but we knew that was going to happen. Okay. So what I'm saying is that February we're going to put a pin in it and we're going to call it an anomaly sales month for 2017. Like we were kind of prepared for it, knew it was going to happen. So not everybody can get up in arms about it completely.
Sure. But I mean, the hardtop sales were down quite a bit as well.
However, that's the depressing thing to look at is the hardtops. They only sold 680 of these, in the entire U.S. of A in February. Okay?
Yes.
That is, somebody correct my math here, that's less than 10 per dealer?
Yes, it is. if I'm not mistaken.
Way less than 10 per dealer. There's like 90. There's 100 and some dealers. So it's only like
the cars that actually saved the dealers this last February were the new convertible and the Clubman.
And the Clubman, yeah. And somebody, I guess the Matt's Mini Index that we saw there over at that other website that we talk about sometimes, said Fiat actually sold 9 more cars in February than Mini did in the U.S.
Yes.
That's just...
Fiat sales were better than Mini sales were in the U.S.
That was
There's also something like super kind of impressive, like looking at the numbers, and if someone that doesn't know anything about the auto industry is looking at those numbers and they've heard about some kind of diesel scandal that happened like a year ago, like they would think it's Mini and not Volkswagen.
Right.
Because, like, I know they're buying back cars. I know they must have like crazy incentives to sell cars, but like they are up, and it's not the only months they have been up. They have been up like pretty much since the scandal. I mean, almost since the scandal.
Right.
It's a pretty impressive fit when you look at the numbers for Mini. And again, Fiat doesn't even have like how many cars they have in the lineup? Like 2,
3.
3.
Well, yeah, really. There's 3. There's two
3.
different
and they have
SUVs.
no dealers. They have no network. It's. I mean, that's really. I mean, that's bad, man. They're down 20%, but Mini is still down like 24%. Like with all the capabilities that Mini BMW has, compared to Fiat and Chrysler.
So here's my question.
Yep.
And just humor me on this, but how long have sales been on the decline with Mini USA in the United States?
Going on
pretty
a
much
year.
since the F cars came out.
No, they did okay. It's been so hard because there's
It's been like 2 years though.
Yeah,
It was good in 2015, I think. It was on the back up, and then like it's going down. I think it's almost. I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I
Can I tell-
I don't have the whole number.
year. I think, right?
Can I tell you guys something that's going to blow your mind right now? We are approaching the 5th model year of the F Series cars.
Mm-hmm.
Just do the math. No, it sounds more absurd than it is. 5th model year because they came out in there's a 2014 model. We owned a 2014, so we got 14, 15, 16, 17, and the Countryman JCW are going to be marketed as a 2018. Okay, and that's going to be hitting dealers here next month, April of this year. So we've got
CI are going to be 2018.
5 model years since this of the F Series. Granted, that's only been technically over 3 calendar years when you think about it, because March 2014 was the time that they came out. All right, so the year of 2014 to 15, 16, 17. Really, it sounds kind of absurd. You got 5 model years in the span of 3 calendar years, which is enough to blow your mind and go, what? But in answer to your question, DB, how long have sales been down? It's been
18 months, 24 months.
Yeah, I'm gonna say between 12 and 18 months. Been dipping
between 12 and 18 months. Let's just say that. Now, short of
there's been a couple months in there that have been like in the plus side, but not very many.
But not very many, and so I mean, but they've been more down than up of late. And short of the recent marketing department shakeup, I wonder if anybody actually notices.
Well, here's the
because Mini worldwide sales are up. Every other country where Minis are sold, they are selling better this year than they were selling for the same period last year.
I know, and it's tough because
And here in the United States, which used to be the largest market for Mini, now they have had, we're just going to say, a solid year.
Yeah, a year.
12 consecutive months of sales that were not as good as the year before.
Do you think it's because of the internet?
I think it's because of the internet, and I think nobody's paying attention.
Well, there's all of that, but
I kind of get the feeling that there's nobody at Mini USA that's paying attention, or they're asleep at the switch.
It could very well be that. I think marketing was really tough. I think they took a big marketing hit in 2014 when they decided to go with this upscale premium hipster malarkey bullshit. That they really latched onto in 2014. It's like, this car's no longer fun. We've been perceived, and we all saw the internal video from David Duncan, who was head of Mini USA at the time, who basically said, here's what our research shows, is that people perceive the Mini Cooper to be too frivolous, too feminine, too, silly, impractical, all of these things, when in reality, it's none of those things. It's really a premium car. So instead, we're going to try and change our image and go, we're premium. This is a nice car. And, this is not a luxury car, but this is a premium car. And that was on the heels of the Clubman coming out. And that was they were going to partner up with this and say, the Clubman, look, it's sophisticated. It's
the walls, the tight jeans.
You want to wear
the craft that
skinny tie. Get in this car with your well-trimmed beard, and you're gonna be part of the crew.
And your puppy vest,
right? Anyway, I think it kind of missed the mark in the U.S. It seems to be working because they're using the same kind of marketing in the rest of the world, and it seems to be selling the cars. But in the U.S., it's failed miserably. And I'm not going to blame marketing 100% because all small car sales in the U.S. are down. They are for other companies. And
Fiat's down, except, Mazda's not down, Volkswagen's not down, Subaru's not down.
I don't think Honda's down. Honda's down a little bit.
Honda's down either.
But their best-selling lines are still the SUVs.
Small niche cars, Fiat, Smart, Mini, they're all down.
Yeah, and where everybody's putting their money and everything, and even BMW, they're selling more of their X models. Now they have an X1 through going to be an X7. They're going to sell more of those than they are the sporting cars. So it's really a U.S. kind of mindset, is that gas is cheap, and people want bigger cars. They want more utility because somehow in their mind they think, I'm going to go out every weekend with my kayak and I'm going to take a family out. And no, what do they end up doing? They end up going to the freaking movies with the rest of us and sitting at home watching Netflix.
They spend the weekend spending money at Target and Costco.
Yeah, and they're watching Netflix. They're not really going out adventuring like that. But they could. They got the car. They could. They got the Subaru in the garage and they got the Birkenstocks. They're ready to go.
Right.
So you have to go.
And
it feels like they've been. So I hear I remember talking about this video from David Duncan, right? And so and it's funny because you would say the car is too feminine and all that, and it's all again it's easy for us to say in hindsight, right? But then you say, okay, to fix that, then we're gonna make it look premium. Well, that's really not an answer to the problem, right? If your car appears too feminine, too much like a toy, you make it look like something that can do a lot of things, that is a sporty car that has some capabilities, and even if it's small, you can fit you can fit 4 people easily in the car, and they really haven't shown any of that. The premium, and now we see it wasn't really the premium campaign wasn't really the answer. But now you look at what they're doing for the Countryman, and that probably what they should have been doing. Again, we'll see what the future holds for the Countryman, right? But the type of people they are reaching out to and the way they are reaching out to them seems to me to be more in line with the answer to the problem they were seeing when they launched the F series.
Right. And I talked about Mazda a lot, and I just encourage people to go watch just go to YouTube and search.
Really, they look.
Mazda commercials are really good.
Yeah, look for Mazda commercials. But here's another company that's doing it right, and they're doing what many missed the boat on. Is Subaru, and they're marketing on heritage. And they have commercials right now that are talking about how, you've had this Subaru since, your child was a baby, and now he's driving it off to college. And it's really kind of focusing on the heritage of this car's been around so long, and it's so dependable, and the brand is so recognizable. That is something that many wanted to do with this changeover towards premium. They're like, we really want to focus on the heritage of this car. We've got a good story. And I'm like, well, no shit, it's got a good story. Since 1959, it's got a good story. It's got a great racing heritage story. It's got lots of famous people in England drove this car, and it was cool. And it was such there was that, and it was cool through 2000s when they stopped making the original classic Mini. And it just seems that the marketing has been so schizophrenic over the last 5 years, or 3 years.
Yeah.
It drives me insane as an enthusiast.
There is no consistency in messaging.
No.
So let me ask my next question. If we determine that maybe it's not a marketing issue, maybe it's American buying public's not buying small cars anymore because gas is cheap. But what about this? Imagine, if you will, the Chevrolet Motor Car Company. Okay, and just one segment of that, which we really can't compare, but we kind of can. I'm going to use the Corvette as an example because the Corvette is almost like its own brand. within Chevrolet, right?
Right.
True.
And if Corvette sales dropped off as much as Mini sales have over the last year and a half, and there are years where that's happened, we would hear about it in the news. And Chevy would be scrambling because their board of directors were saying, how come you guys aren't making any money? You got to make some cuts. You got to do some things. You got to push marketing. You have to do something to either increase sales or cut costs. Right?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, we saw that with Corvette in the 80s. It was called 1980 to 1989.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
Since 2002, I found some numbers actually, and Corvette kind of goes every other year. 1 year's up, 1 year's down, 1 year's up, 1 year's down, a couple years in a row that are up, a couple years in a row that are down. But it's pretty consistent, and it's just a couple hundred off. But if they had like marked like 25% drop over year over year, someone would be freaking out.
Yeah, but like I think we're looking at this like from the comment like makes sense, like and someone would be freaking out like looking at those numbers for Mini, right?
So then my next question is, how come nobody at BMW AG isn't freaking out?
Oh, they are. They're losing.
But we're looking at it from the perspective of a U.S. buyer. Like if the Chevrolet, which is like,
why am I not seeing a huge marketing push on this car? How come I'm not reading in automotive news that they're making big cuts or making big changes to either the marketing message or they're cutting back shifts at Plant Oxford or?
Well, I think we're about to see the marketing push with the new Countryman DB, and
wear my tinfoil hat a little bit.
Yeah, no. I think you're right.
That's a great point, though.
Yep, I think.
Yeah, but again, like that's like a U.S. like problem, and
right.
It's not like it used to be the biggest market, but no, it's not. Like it's being eclipsed by other markets, right? So I totally agree with you. Like there is something like systemically wrong with like Mini USA in the US market, because now it's like it's a fact. Like it's we're not like waiting to see if this year is going to be better than the previous one, because it's most likely not going to be.
Yeah, so far sales are down to last year 13%.
Exactly, yeah. But so you can't, so while
and last year was to the year before.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with you that like someone at Chevrolet would freak out if this was going down. Of course they would, because like Chevrolet, US brand, and especially the Corvette, it's like like the
all American
prize of the lineup. So sure, like they would talk about it. But like Mini US is just one market, and it's by now it's not like the biggest market for the brand. So of course, I mean, we're seeing some changes like internally. We've seen people that have been let go or left the company. There's also some changes at the helm for regarding design. But it's, I wonder how much that change is was actually like justified, because when you look at the rest of the world, like the brand is doing pretty well. I mean, the F series, you could by any measure you could say it's a success in the rest of the world, right, and not in the US. And I don't think like Americans have design needs or design preferences that are fundamentally different than any other country in the western side of the world.
I think the U.S. Yeah, I think the U.S. market is extremely fickle, and the Mini for a while was trendy, and nobody thought that it would last as long as it did. And I'd say it had a pretty good, at least a 10 to 12 year run, but it's been around 15 years now since it came out in the U.S. And right. I think I said this a couple weeks ago when Gabe was on the show even, and then he's finally like, yes, that's a very good point, is we're in the same position car buying wise in the U.S. that we were back in 2002. Everybody's buying trucks and SUVs once again,
it's
right?
Insane.
Everybody is. Like all of my neighbors have an SUV. I'm the only one on my entire block that doesn't have an SUV or a minivan, okay?
It's the same way it was in 2003 and 2004, though, Todd.
So I know, that's what I'm saying. And so my point is, let's go back to what worked, and let's make this kind of, you can't even say as a brand that Mini can go at as the SUV backlash, because we've got this crossover that is SUV-like in the Countryman. So they can't embrace that so much. But I think your marketing can be multifaceted in that we don't just have one car to market anymore. You've got everything from a four-door, Cooper that I've got in my garage right now, this automatic, just average car that is every man's car, to my JCW, which is tricked out within an inch of its life. It's a race car for the street, all the way up to a Countryman. We've got or a convertible. We've got something to fit everybody's needs. And it's really hard to market something like that, but there has to be some sort of continuity in in marketing philosophy, and I think the best way I can describe it is it feels schizophrenic over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I think they just need to try harder. I mean, we're looking at sales numbers for this year, and if sales continue at the trend that they're at right now, they're going to sell about 30,000 cars this year. That's
you can do
20,000 to like 2006.
Yeah.
You know,
to Todd's point, like you can do like the best marketing campaign in the world if you don't have the car that people want to buy, which is like an SUV with all the tech. Like you're not gonna sell anything, even if you have like the best, spot like on YouTube. Like it's not gonna change anything. Then the interesting thing is that it's starting looking at sales of the other models with the new Countryman out and see what it does to the other models, because it could very well be that the Countryman would serve as a halo product for actually, which is surprising in a way, to bring up the other models.
Chad, you were gonna say?
What's up?
Yeah, there was one thing, and we should probably move on and wrap up the show. But there was one thing that I want to point out as somebody who lives in Detroit. The government had to bail out GM.
Yes.
No government has had to bail out Mini yet.
Or BMW, rather. Yeah.
Yep.
To make a good car. So they're still making good cars. Okay. It's just the buying public has switched a little bit, where GM wasn't making good cars, and they're like, oh, sorry, we don't have any money left.
Right.
We got to go buy, and they're like, oh, wait, we can't let you fail, so we're gonna have to make you, but you should start making good cars again, so you actually, stay as a car company. And like, you know what, you're right, and we'll start making good cars again. So, there is that little bit of a factor. It's like, okay, well, Mini is still making good cars.
Yes.
In the overall.
Yes.
It may not look pretty, but they are still making good cars, but they're just not selling for what the American public wants right this second.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's just sad. And I think it really comes down to, and I've driven a lot of cars, and DB, you just drove, a Kia For-Tay for almost a week in San Diego when you were traveling there, and you had a nice little thing to write about it. But the point is, I think when you drive it compared to a Mini, and then you realize this is actually fun and nice, both of those things, I could live with this and probably enjoy it a lot more. And my attitude is, a car for a lot of people is just an appliance. They need something to get to work and something that's going to start every day. They don't want to They don't want to think about it, and that's really hard to buy a Mini as that, because you start to love this car and it starts to become a member of the family, and you become an enthusiast, and it starts to consume your life. It's consumed all of our lives.
Right, and then it breaks down on you, and then you just kind of go, well, okay, I'll deal with it.
Then you get pissed off and you go buy a Honda SR, or Honda CR-V or whatever else, or Mazda, whatever. But I do think there's a philosophical shift that needs to happen among consumers also. And that's not Mini's fault, but there is a way to target that. And there is a way to make it cool again. Let's make Mini cool again.
I just wish that it appeared that somebody's noticed and that they're doing something to try to
I'm sure they
say it or something.
They need to be the cool kid on the block again.
Yeah, I'm sure they've noticed, and I'm sure the people in New Jersey are freaking out.
I don't watch television. I spend all my time on the internet. I'm like one of these little kids like Alex, right? I do not watch any television. All the content I consume is commercial free.
Yep.
I don't see TV. I don't see TV commercials. I use ad blockers on YouTube, and I've got feed readers for my news, Twitter, and all the things, right? And I just kind of scroll through Twitter really quick, and I don't click through to ads on Twitter, and I don't really click through ads on Facebook. I ignore ads entirely, mostly, and I get my news from websites like Motoring File and other automotive websites, and they're all covered with manufacturer ads, and I don't see a Mini ad unless I go to miniusa.com and I get the follow ad from Google.
I see them everywhere, but I think it's a lot.
I don't.
Yeah.
I see none of them. Yep.
I see.
Well, if you block all that stuff, yes, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'd
like to say I don't really search Mini stuff out all the time, but when I do go to YouTube during lunch, we watch fail videos or whatever, just to kind of get our minds off of things and eat. We're getting Mini ads every single video.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to turn off ad blockers then.
And I'm sure part of it is because YouTube knows what I'm doing throughout the day on my computer, which is usually Mini related.
Right.
But I'm not Googling Mini Cooper or
Right.
Stuff like that, because I don't have to. But YouTube sees that, and all of the commercials that we see on our lunch hour is Mini commercials.
Todd or Chad, I actually sent an email over to YouTube and told them to only serve the Detroit Tuned offices Mini Cooper ads.
Oh, so it worked. They answered the emails, so we're good to go.
So yeah,
that was just my question.
But it's a good ad,
and it just doesn't seem like anybody's doing anything about it. That's my only point. That's the impression that I get.
Yeah, that may be the impression you get. And
I get the impression that nobody cares.
No.
I get the impression that nobody's noticed. I get the impression that maybe they want sales to drop, so they have an excuse to maybe pull Mini from the United States.
No, I'm not.
I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I think they're trying, and it's just the tip of we're just seeing the tip of the try right now.
Yep.
I think all of us have been to that jaded point of, what is Mini doing? Like, just stop it already. Like, what are you slap, said. But I think they're just starting to try, and it's going to start to get back to a little bit of that 2003, 2004 feel of, okay, we've got something really special here. We need to make it happen, but
it's finally time
until all of the R56 stuff is gone and they really got to that next point.
Yeah, and I think it's about time that a lot of people have come back to the brand. A lot of people who had Minis back in the day, 2003 to 2006, then who for some reason didn't like the R56 models, when they came out, and they left the brand and went somewhere else. They really are starting to come back now because maybe they've got families and they need 4 doors, and they're like, you know what, this Countryman or this Clubman is cool. I always loved my Mini. I'm going to go give it a shot once again. And it's taken a lot of people that, like Brian was saying, the early orders on Countryman there, where he is in the Northwest, are previous owners. And I think that's something that's been sorely missing for the last 5 years specifically from Mini, is repeat customers. I mean, we all know them. We're in the inner circle of Mini. We know people who are diehard Mini fans, such as ourselves. I'm on my 7th in this household in the last 15 years. So, I mean, and you guys are all on, multiple Minis. Although, Chad, you've got a second one there. You bought the...
Well,
technically, you've got the one at the shop.
I own multiple Minis as is, but...
You built yours at least 6 times.
But how many of them run?
Well, no, they all run. I got 2 R53s, and R50 is our loaner car, and I've got an R56 here at the stable. My mom's got an R55.
Yeah, there you go.
So I've got a lot of them, really. Our employees are an R60 at R53. So we have a stable of a lot of different cars, readily at our disposal. And literally I own 3 of those type of things. So it's,
Yeah, like I said, we're all kind of a skewed perspective on that. However, and I've been seeing this personally lately, is a lot of people I was friends with back in the 2000s, back when the Mini clubs were really big and enthusiasm was really getting strong and growing in the U.S. And those people left the brand. I stayed friends with them. I stayed in contact with via Facebook or whatever. And I see them coming back now. I get messages. I'm like, I haven't talked to this guy for 5 years. All of a sudden, he's asking me questions. Hey, what do you think about this used Mini? Or what do you think about the new Clubman? And I'm getting that now on once a week. I get an old message from an old friend. Hey, I'm thinking about getting a Mini again. I'm like, great. Let me know. I'll put you in contact with somebody. I'll get you cars to drive. Ask me options or whatever. I am willing to help and be there. And it does feel like it's just at the stages again of people coming back to the brand. And I feel like that's something Mini has completely, ignored for the last 5 years, is the existing customers. They're like, we don't want these people. They've bought our cars. We want to be huge. And in doing that, they lost a lot of their base.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We talked about that months ago. I want to say more than a year ago. We talked about Mini, how they've screwed things up and they've lost their base because they've offended their, big core audience. But
no, you're right.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see.
There we go.
Thank you for listening to my point.
Yes, it was a valid point.
Yep.
Let us be done for this week, and with that point, let's have a quick reminder about a mini vacation in Vegas once again. Todd, do you still have any spaces left for any work in Anviv?
Oh yeah, if you want stripes or anything done, shoot me a message over at the contact form at motoringstripes.com.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So again, a mini vacation in Vegas. Those of you who are going, I'm going. By the time you hear this, I've already booked my hotel room and paid my fees. Todd's already booked and he's going. Alex, you're going?
I'm listed as a vendor.
I need to book, but yes, I'm going for now.
Alex is going, and as an added bonus, Chad's trying really hard to go to Amviv.
Yeah, it's like super radar. It's not even just like on the heads-up display. Like it's like we're really trying to make all this happen.
Well, that's cool. That's very cool.
Chad,
So,
just fly
if
Southwest,
Todd
make
needs
it
an
cheap.
extra installer, like we can double up the slots. We can make this happen.
We could. We actually could.
I can lay down the stripe with one of the motoring stripe, squeegees.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Todd's going to be doing graphics at Amviv. Friend of the show, Jerry from Eurotex, he's going to be doing Manic Tunes at Amviv. If you search for Eurotex over on Facebook, he will get you hooked up on that if you want to get on that list.
He can make flames come out of your pipes, man.
He can make flames come out of the back of your car with tuning, with just like a little chip tune.
Oh, come on. How gay.
No, dude, it's hot.
Oh my god! You get that.
That was a joke, DB. Just so you know, that was a joke.
Dude, I wish he could make flames come out of my car. He won't put the Manic Tune on my car because I'm only up a Cooper. But it's so awesome. Oh my God, it's so rad. That's search Eurotex on Facebook. Jerry will get you taken care of if you want to do a Manic Tune on your car. Anyway, that's a mini vacation in Vegas. It's happening May 18th through the 21st at the Silverton Hotel and Casino in Fabulous. Las Vegas, Nevada, America's Playground.
Yes, sir.
All the information is available for you, of course, at amviv.com. There is a link at whiteroofradio.com to go and check that out. We will all be there. It's going to be quite awesome, as always. Otherwise, I want you to go also check DetroitTune.com. Chad's got a lot of cool stuff on his website. Help him out. If you're within 5 hours of a shop, 6 hours of a shop, a day drive of the shop, he's your mechanic anyway. He's doing our oil changes and tune-ups and, putting on the hot mods and pulleys and intakes and, airbags, slamming your car to the ground, booming system, crazy lights. Chad's your guy. Well, maybe not.
We actually had a call for airbags today. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Let's make it happen.
Dude, airbags on a. Speaking of Jerry from Eurotex, he's got a R53 that's bagged. Yep. And if you ever got that car finished, it's completely not drivable at all, but it's hot.
I'm sorry, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit, guys.
Because that's what cars on airbags is completely undrivable. But that's it's all about the looks.
You put it up a little bit, and it's like, okay, you can get it to Cars and Coffee now, but it looks ridiculous. And then you get the coffee and you put it on the ground. It's just like, okay, that looks pretty badass.
I'm disgusted by the thought of that, guys.
No way, it's hot. It's cool. And flames come out of the pipes. Come on. That car doesn't actually spit flames. Anyway, thanks again for listening, guys. As Todd mentioned before, if you want to get on the stripe train at Amviv, click over to motoringstripes.com and use the contact form while you're there. And that will, you can shoot Todd over an email, say, hey, I want stripes. This is my car. This is the color I want. He'll get back with you. You guys can do some design emails back and forth, figure out exactly what you want. If you just want stripes, cool. If you want something a little bit more, maybe like a roof graphic, Todd will totally hook you up. Motoringstripes.com. Use contact form. He'll take care of it. So also, if you want a White Roof Radio Sunroof Delete Kit, that is the motoringstripes.com hack. You use contact form. Let Todd know, and he'll shoot you a quote. And if you want him to install it while we're at Amviv, well, boom, there you go.
There it is.
That's that. I think we're done. Anybody else have anything else? Alex, you have 30 seconds. Go.
I bought a new Nintendo Switch. It's amazing. You guys should buy one.
Man.
Well, there is no Star Wars movie, so I need to talk about something else.
I know.
Perfect.
Isn't there a new trailer for a new Star Wars movie?
No, there's a new trailer for
the Top Gear came out.
Oh, new Top Gear. I haven't watched it yet, so we're gonna have to talk about Top Gear next time. I've kind of watched like a few minutes. I'm hearing very good things about it. I don't want to talk about it tonight, though. We'll do that next time with Joey and the two other guys.
Good, wrap it. I gotta pee.
And just like that, folks, thanks again for listening. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns, go ahead, of course, click back over to whiteroofradio.com. There you can leave us a note in the show notes. You can also email us, feedback@whiteroofradio.com. Until next week, gang, this is DB. I'm done.
Cheers.
See ya.
À bientôt.